10,000 auctions called. Which one was the most memorable? Let's find out. Hi, Karen Worley, Eve's General Manager, Bay of Plenty, and today I'm with Grant Child once again, Eve's auctioneer. And Grant, you've got a pretty significant hammer sitting on your lapel. Tell us about that.
Yep, that's a new one, Karen, and very proud of it as well. 10,000 auctions I've called now. Well, that's 10,000 property auctions. That doesn't include the charity auctions that I've done, but just property auctions, and that's pretty special. I'm very excited about it.
And we were too, obviously, to be able to present you with that. Obviously, not all that time has been with Eve's, but the majority of it has, and every single day we are very, very grateful in our company for all that you do, not just at the podium, but what you do behind the scenes as well in terms of buyers' videos, vendors' videos, paperwork and all that sort of stuff. So congratulations and thank you so much for doing such an incredible job. But if we're going to stay along the lines of auctions, I just want to talk about something that is not necessarily obvious to the public, but certainly to all of the salespeople that we work with, and that is simply that each week you put together a list of properties and when they come onto the market and what they eventually sell for, and that difference between where they come onto the market, which isn't necessarily the reserve price, but where you call it onto the market, so in other words over the reserve, and the sale price can be quite significant. Can you just talk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, so when the property is actually announced on the market, it's at a point where the owners are happy to accept that figure. It's either the reserve, or obviously if the auction has got momentum and buyers are fighting it out because it's a great property, then we just let it go, and then when the opportunity arises we announce that the property's on the market, and then it's obviously sold to the highest bidder. So when the property's actually announced on the market, that gives buyers confidence that they know they're going to own it that day. They know that they're only going to have to pay maybe $1,000 more than what somebody else is prepared to pay for the property, so that gives them confidence, and that's what actually drives the auction. But it's the transparency of it, is the beauty of it, is buyers can see what their competition are prepared to pay and then make that decision as to whether they want to pay more. So I always say to buyers, make sure you've got 3 figures in your mind before you come to the auction, because you don't want to get yourself into a situation where you've paid too much. So what you'd like to get it for, what you're happy to go to, and what your walk away price is. And then if you've got those figures, you can work within the competition out there under that transparency. And if it goes beyond your walk away price, then you stop and go and find another one.
It's certainly, when you announce it on the market, excuse me, it adds momentum, no doubt about that, to the auction, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, again, it's that transparency that the buyers know that the property's on the market. They've reached a figure that the owner is happy to accept. So it's now between them and their competition, their other buyers, because vendors are gone. They're not having to work with the vendors. They've achieved that, and on we go. And
actually that word transparency comes up a lot in auction, doesn't it? And I know that certainly from a buyer's point of view, they love the fact that they know who they, well not who, but what they're competing, what their competition is paying, and therefore they never feel like they've paid too much.
Exactly. Yeah. Unlike other methods of sale, you know, the buyers actually hate getting into what we call multiple offers, where you know, all offers go into sealed envelopes presented to the vendors. They don't know what the other offers are, whereas in the auction room they can see and they can hear. And you know, if buyers are bidding by phone over the live stream, they can see what's going on. They can hear what's going on through the phone with the salespeople. So again, that transparency is there, and that. So those what we're talking about there about the properties that are going over where we actually announce them on the market. I put out that list and I update it each week. And at the moment, with the way the market's going, is I'm adding between sort of 7 and 10, 12 properties a week to that list.
So that's where the vendors well and truly exceeded the expectation. That's amazing.
Yeah, but it's also an indication of what's happening in the marketplace at the moment. You know, while things are, you know, they're trying to slow the market down, but it's actually the buyers that are actually driving it, and it's always going to be, because low supply, high demand is always going to mean higher prices, because people are going to compete.
So on this milestone day, Grant, tell me about the probably most memorable auction that you've ever called.
I guess I could say which one, because there's plenty of them, but one that there's a couple that stand out to me. One was an on-site auction I did a few years ago in Rotorua. In fact, that was quite a few years ago, and it was just absolutely pelting down with rain. The salespeople were absolutely drenched trying to get people into the house. We did it on the lakefront. It was raining that hard that you couldn't actually see the lake at the front of the section. It was a little cottage on a big site, and there was people, it was in the middle of winter, and they had the fire going. There was people sitting around the fire in the lounge, around the dining area, which is where I was. They were down the hallway and in the kitchen, and so we had 155 bids on that property. So that was a memorable one. Another memorable one is one of the ones that we did during the last lockdown, and that was a Caddy property. And that was done over the live stream, and we had something like 146 bids on that one as well. It took a long time, but the buyers were just going up in $500 bids.
I remember that one well.
That transparency.
Yeah.
But, I think if you were to ask me what's the part that I love the most about being an auctioneer, it's absolutely without doubt selling to first home buyers.
Oh yes.
It just really gives me an absolute buzz, seeing first home buyers actually succeed and purchase their property. And a couple of weeks ago we had a lady in here, and she did the biggest dance I've ever seen in the auction room. She was so excited about buying her first home, and it always brings a big smile to my dial, I can tell you that.
I think everybody in the room really appreciates somebody getting on the property ladder for the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
Grant, you're a very approachable person, and I know that we've put together some amazing videos, etc., for people that are thinking about the method of sale, and also buyers that are thinking about going to auction.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make the offer that if you are thinking about selling, or you're thinking about going and buying at auction, then please make sure that you get in touch with us, and with Grant in particular, because he's more than happy to talk through that whole process with you.
Yeah,
Grant, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Congratulations once again on 10,000 calls, and we look forward to the next 10,000.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.